until about 95, when I consider myself formally removed from that life and operating in that capacity. And I'll tell you briefly where I was in 1984, when I believed in my faith that God started to make a transition in my life. 84. I'm a captain in a family. Quite honestly, they were grooming me to be either the boss or the underboss. The boss had a son. We came in at the same time. We were the same age. And our fathers were grooming us to take over the family, boss, underboss, whatever way it worked out. I became a major target of law enforcement. I was indicted 5 times. I had 3 state cases, 2 federal racketeering cases. I went to trial 5 times. I beat every case, either dismissed or acquitted each time. I had devised a scheme to defraud the government out of tax on every gallon of gasoline. I ran that operation for 7 years, almost 8 years rather. I had the Russian mob guys that I recruited to be in business with me. At the height of my operation, I was bringing in $8 to $10 million a week into my operation. I had my own jet plane. I had a helicopter, a house in Florida, a house in New York, a house in Marina Del Rey, California. I had 300 guys under me. We didn't do anything I tell them to do. And people, if you want to read this about me, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm all over the place. You can YouTube me, Google me. I'm on Netflix. I got all the documentaries about me. They're doing movies on my life. I've written 5 books. I got a television show on A&E this year. All this stuff is public information. Look it up. Okay? That was my life at that point. I was on top of the world as far as I was concerned. Among many other things I was doing at that time, I was making movies. I had a production company in LA. Smokey Robinson was, still is, a dear friend. Comes to me with a screenplay for a breakdance movie. A lot of music, a lot of dance, a lot of rap music. Well, that's when you can listen to rap music on the radio. Not like today. Forget about this stuff. But back then it was cool. We had the Sugar Hill Gang, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, the Fat Boys, old school rap. I had them all in the movie. It was called Knights of the City. I think you can rent it on video or whatever way you get these things this day and age. But I said, Smokey, I'll make a movie if we can film it in Florida. Got a house down here, like the warm weather. So we're filming this in Florida. I bring cast and crew from LA to work in the film, 50 professional dancers. We had just finished pre-production a couple of weeks, and we were going into principal photography. We were shooting the film on a Monday. On Sunday, I throw a party for everybody in the back of the hotel where I had everybody staying. Big barbecue. It was a beautiful day in Florida. Guys, you may appreciate this. I was sitting by the pool, minding my own business, talking to a few of my guys, when all of a sudden out of the water comes this gorgeous, beautiful 20-year-old girl. I saw her, I'll be honest with you, everything went in slow motion, like a Pepsi commercial, right? And I said, man, who is this girl, right? Gorgeous, you know. I thought she might have been a dancer. She had kind of a dancer's body. The choreographer was sitting, you know, by the pool. I said, Jeff, come over here. Is this one of your girls? He said, yeah. I said, what's her name? He said, Camille. I said, bring her over, I want to meet her. So he brings her over. I introduced myself as Camille. I'm your producer. I want to get to know you better. Let me take you to lunch. So she said, okay, very sweet, polite. I set a time and a place. I got this restaurant set up on one of the major hotels in Miami. I figured, hey, she'll come up there, sweep her off her feet. She's mine. That was my attitude back then. Long story short, I'm up there an hour. She stood me up. She never showed up, you know. And, you know, I saw her the next day on the set. And I said, hey, what happened? We had a date. And I figured she was going to say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't make it, I got busy. She didn't do that. She gave me one of those looks, you ladies know this, like, did you really expect me to come? You know, one of those kind of things. So she kind of put me off a little bit, and I said, well, you know, can we try it again? Were you busy? She said, yeah, I was rehearsing. I was busy. I said, can we try it again? She said, sure, no problem. Okay, we set another time at a place. I go, she stood me up again. Now, she did this to me 5 times. Now, if she was sitting here, she would say, stop exaggerating. It wasn't 5 times, roll her eyes. Guys, we know when we were stood up, believe me, I was the offended party. It was 5 times. She didn't want to have anything to do with me. I gotta make a long story short so we can get into this. After a couple of days, she finally started to talk to me a little bit. She told me she was from Anaheim, California. She used to dance at Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm. She had no clue what she was getting involved with me. And long story short, I fell very much in love with this young woman. She's now my wife of 35 years. And she was a woman of very strong faith, as was her mother. And when I fell in love with her and I wanted her in my life, I knew I had to make some changes because it would never work. They had no clue who I was, and my life was a direct contradiction to everything her and her mom believed. And as a result of my being with her, I became a person of faith myself, and now I speak in churches, share my testimony, do the whole thing. But as a result of this woman in my life, I decided to take a plea, walk away from that life, and do the whole thing. When I walked away, contract on my life, I had a lot of trouble, people, for a lot of years. And again, only through the grace of God that I'm up here to talk to you tonight. I'll tell you how important it is, okay, that I'm here. Not important, significant, whatever you want to say, okay? I wrote a book, I wrote a couple of books. One of them was called Blood Covenant. It was my life story. If you read the inside cover of the book, guys, it's a mob story. If you want to buy it online or something, get it anywhere. It's a mob story. I don't sugarcoat anything. Ladies, it's a love story. A story about me and my wife and how we got together. So you want to read about that, you can. But if you read the inside cover, when I walked away from that life in '95, everybody predicted my death. Quote, Life magazine, if he holds toward his promise, will mark the first time a high-ranking member of the mafia will publicly walk away from his past and live. Ed McDonough was the head of the organized crime strike force in New York. When I walked away, when I was released from prison, he went on national TV in 1995 and he said, quote, I wouldn't want to be in Michael Franzese's shoes. I don't think his life expectancy is very substantial. He's very diplomatic, predicting my death. That was back in '95. The FBI agent on my case, Bernie Welsh, he walked up to the podium right after him. He wasn't diplomatic. He said straight out, Franzese will get whacked. And I think you know what that means in Brooklyn street talk. Okay, that was again in 1995. 1975, I walked into a room with 5 other gentlemen, Halloween night. We all took an oath. Today, I'm the only one alive. The other 5 guys, they all dead. Not one of them died of natural causes. Every one of them were murdered. We had a big war in our family. Back in 1991, 13 guys were killed. 29 guys went to jail for life. Want a little more proof? You saw the Fortune magazine article. It was written in 1986. 50 biggest and most wealthiest mob bosses in the country. There was a huge article, half the magazine. They featured 6 of us. I was one of the 6. They actually had a chart with the 50 of us on there according to rank and wealth and power. And I was number 18 on the list. I was the youngest on the list. I was 5 behind John Gotti. Again, for those of you that may know who he was. He became boss eventually of the Gambino family. He wasn't boss yet. He was number 13. And I always say, don't ask me how they make a list like that. They didn't ask for our tax returns. It was silly. It just sold a lot of magazines. But what's not silly about that list is this. Out of that list of 50, 33 years later, 47 of them are dead. 2 of them are doing life in prison without parole. And number 50 is here to try to talk to you and give you a little bit of good information tonight. That's my life story in a nutshell, people. So to say I'm fortunate, blessed, okay, is an understatement. And I will tell you this. I don't meet that young girl. I'm either dead or in prison for the rest of my life. No doubt about it. Meeting her saved my life. So I never underestimate the power of a young woman. I'll tell you this, ladies. I got 5 daughters, okay? And I tell them all the time, you want to get some knucklehead guy, play hard to get. Okay, you go out to lunch, you make sure he pays. You got a date, you make sure he picks you up. Old school stuff. You know, and they tell me, oh, Dad, come on. You know, you're old-fashioned, you wear your pants too short. Okay, you listen to Frank Sinatra. They don't care about my mom stuff. You know, I'm just Dad. Put gas in the car, you know, take the trash out, whatever. I'm just Dad to them. But I get even with them. They bring their boyfriends over to the house. I say, hey, come here, you. I'm not from LA, I'm from Brooklyn. Let me tell you how you're going to treat my daughter. And I scare the hell out of them. They used to say, Dad, please don't come to my school. You know, everybody's afraid of you as it is. I said, well, you do the right thing and I won't come. And I'm telling you, play hard to get, make these guys, keep them, you know, at attention. That's how it's got to be. Guys, sorry, that's how you'll appreciate the woman more if they treat you like that. Trust me. Anyway, so that's kind of the story. Let's get into the gambling a little bit. I've been doing this a long time. I want to set something up for you, okay? How did we put these guys, let's go on the college level. How do we put some of you guys in trouble? Because look, I know you like to gamble, I get it. Today you're probably gambling more, you got more access, you can go online, jump into your birthday suit and start gambling. You might do that tonight. And I hope when you do that, the next time you do it, if you feel like you want to do it more and more, my ugly face gets up there and you say, hey, I remember the night that mob guy that came over and said, you know what, this could be a problem. It could be addictive. I could get myself in trouble. And I can tell you a lot of your classmates around the country who have done just that. I'm going to invite you to do something. I've done this over 300 times and it's never failed yet. When I leave here tonight, you can email me. michaelfranzese@gmail.com. Very easy. You got a gambling issue, you know somebody that does, you got a problem, you want to discuss it, I don't need to know your name, I don't report to the school, I don't report to NCAA, nothing, I'm my own person. But if you got a problem, I want to help you. I can guarantee this because it's never failed yet. By the time I get back to my hotel room, somebody in this room, at least one, is going to email me with a gambling situation. It has never failed yet. It's happening, people. And those of you sitting there may know it. And if you start to feel it in your blood, okay, be careful. Because a gambling addiction is a problem. In sports, forget it. You got no business gambling whatsoever. It's against NCAA rules. You shouldn't be doing it. Don't even start. It's going to give you a headache like you don't want. Let me set up a situation for you. Maybe you'll relate to this. You know, I hung out in Brooklyn. We used to go to all the clubs, Manhattan. Okay, you name it, I was there. That was my life. 6 nights a week, we were out partying in clubs. A lot of the players from St. John's, Syracuse, whatever, visiting teams would come into town. We got to know them a little bit, especially the local teams. Why? Because we were targeting them for a gambling situation. You have no idea how lucrative it is for guys on the street to have a player, okay, a coach, a referee working with them to compromise the outcome of the game. You have no idea how much money can be made. And mob guys live to make money. So here's the situation. We start to get to know some of the players. They come into the same club, we party with them, we buy them a drink. Okay, we send a few ladies over, hey, have a ball, make a fuss over this guy, he plays for a great team, we like him a lot. We do that for a little bit, and after a while, I invite one of them to sit down. Let's say he's a guard playing for St. John's, right? Sit him down at the table, hey, you know what, we got friendly a little bit, I want to talk to you a little bit. You know me, right? Yeah, Mike, I know you. Okay, let me ask you a question. What are you going to do when you get out of school? Well, I don't know. You know, you're a pretty good player. You're a senior, right? Yeah, you're a pretty good player. But you know, you're 5'11". You know you're not going to the pros, right? Yeah, I know. Well, what are you going to do with your life? Well, I don't know. Well, you know that school, you know how much money they're making on you? I know they gave you a scholarship, but I hear you're like a 1.9. You're not exactly a brain surgeon. What are you going to do when you get out of here? Huh? Well, I don't know. Let me ask you a question. How much money you got in your pocket? Well, I'm broke. That's what you normally hear. You're broke. That school is 16,000 people every time you play. You realize how much money they're making on you, and you're broke? I heard your mother's driving around in an old jalopy. Your girlfriend, unfortunately, you got her pregnant. You got some issues. You know, how are you going to support this? I don't know. Let me tell you what you're going to do. I'm going to help you. I'm your best friend right now. Let me tell you what you're going to do. I pull 10 grand out of my pocket. I put it on the table, and I slide over to him. 10 grand, people. Very hard to turn away. I said, now here's what you're going to do. You got 10 games left. Wednesday night, you're favored to win by 10 points. Don't win by 10. Win by 6, win by 7, win by 8. Don't blow the game. You know, we don't want you to lose. Don't cover the spread. Who's going to know? And who cares? You're winning the game. You do that for me 10 times, you got 100 grand. Take it, put it under your mattress. You get out of school, who's better than you? You got it made. You got a good start. Very hard to turn down. Because believe me, we know how to get around people like that. But here's what happens. It never fails. It happens every time. He takes the money. And he'll go and play 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. Now you tell me if I'm wrong or not. It's harder for you people that are competitive to underperform on the court than it is to do your best. Why? Okay, everybody's looking at you. You got your teammates. They don't know what's going on. You're not making the right pass. You're not making foul shots. We're not using basketball because it's easy. Okay? All of a sudden, the pressure starts to get to you. You got 16,000 people watching you. You're letting your coach down. It's hard for you to do that. It starts to get on you. You come back to me after 3 games. Hey, Mike, you know what? I got 30 G's. That's more money than I've ever seen in my life. I can't do this anymore. It's driving me crazy. I want to stop. You want to stop? What do you mean you want to stop? We made a deal. You shook my hand. There's no stopping now. Unless you want to go tell your coach how well you've been playing. Want to tell your girlfriend, your mom, they'll be proud of you. Want to go to the cops? I don't care. They're going to lock me up. I know how to get out of it. You got 7 more games to go. You're done when I tell you you're done. That's it. You make that mistake 1 time. You get yourself in over your head, or maybe you gambling online, you owe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and all of a sudden you're looking for a way out. You do that 1 time, your career is over. You're done. Finished. And don't think there are people out there that won't try to use you. Now, that's a pretty drastic situation. You live in New York, okay, there's a good chance that that can happen to you. Trust me, even today. Because there's guys out there that are preying on people like you. Gambling should not be any part of your life. You want to hear a story about a kid from Wisconsin? Okay, he wasn't an athlete. He was a student, freshman. Never gambled in his life. Started playing penny poker. Penny poker. Okay, in his dorm room with a couple of his friends. Got into his head. He meets up with a guy and says, what are you playing penny poker for? I can tell you how to make some real money. I know how to gamble on sports. So this guy starts gambling with him. They start to lose it. He loses $70,000 gambling on sports. Some of his tuition money, book money, he's devastated. He leaves school, he runs away for a while. He comes back. I lost all this money because of this guy that led me in the wrong direction. He's so insane about it, he goes into the guy's room in the middle of the night and he kills him, shoots him dead. He had 2 other roommates in the room with him. All of a sudden this guy becomes a real criminal. He doesn't want any witnesses. He shoots the other 2. 3 people dead. Started with penny poker. He's doing life in prison right now. Want to hear how worse it gets? The brother of one of the kids that was shot was so distraught over his brother being shot, he hung himself. All started with penny poker. Another kid, okay, he was a freshman up at school in Pennsylvania. Good kid. He was a minister's son. How straight can you get, right? Grew up in the church. Bad gambling problem. Gets in with a couple of his friends, goes down to the bank. Hey, I got to go into the bank. I got to make a withdrawal. He goes into the bank. He makes a withdrawal. He's got a gun and a note. Sticks the bank up. Walks out with $3,800. Drives back up to the school. He wasn't a real criminal. They had him all over the camera. They go lock him up. He gets time in jail. I can tell you story after story after story. Bottom line, don't get it. That's it. If your career is over, if you're not going on to the pros, whatever, you want to gamble a little bit, but be careful. I'm telling you, you can get hooked, and I can stay here the rest of the night and tell you that. Guys, I want to tell you this. I know there's ladies here tonight, but I really get into this with the football team. Okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, you look like a smart guy. You're in a bar, really, you're in a bar, 12 o'clock, okay, night, starts to get, you know, that midnight, that witching hour, people are drinking, start to get crazy, a little silly. Okay, you got a nice, pretty girl, and you're talking to her, you're having a good time, right? Guy walks over to you, he starts to get a little rude, he starts to horn in on your girl, starts to talk to her a little bit. You tell him, hey, take a walk, you see the girls with me. And I say, you know, be respectful, take a walk. He doesn't listen. You know, he gets a little bit rude, maybe gets a real out of hand, you push him, he pushes you back, boom, you clock him, he goes down, right? He gets up, you don't want to mess with you anymore, he leaves. What do you do after that? Probably go home. I told you he was smart. I told you he was smart. Exactly. You get your ass out of that bar. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen. Guy leaves, comes back with 2 or 3 of his buddies, knife or gun, and boom, it's all over. You win, you lose, you leave the place. That's it. Don't be a hero, don't be a tough guy. No reason to do that. Okay, nothing happens good in these bars after midnight. Trust me. I can tell you stories that we can stay here the rest of the night. Nothing after. Smart guy, I told you that. Okay? Okay? Relationships, people, be careful who you hang out with. I'm telling you, again, I'm going to give you some time for questions, so I'm going to let it go at this point. But be careful who you hang out with. You got to keep yourself with the right company, people, because again, you are who you hang out with. Don't let anybody take you down the wrong direction. Questions? You got to be out of here by 8. We got 10 minutes. Yes, sir.
What's the largest cash amount?
The largest cash amount that I've seen at any one time, several $1 million. You know, look, we were bringing in $8 to $10 million a week. A lot of that was cash. At one time, I seen probably close to 100 million. But let me make this clear. I did 8 years in prison. My case is to defend myself in court. It cost me over $35 million. My wife, I was 8 years, I had to support my wife while I was in prison. We went through a lot of money. It doesn't pay. Trust me. You gain money that way, it's going away. You're going to have a lot of headaches. You got a great thing, go to school, get your education, have a career. Money is good. You know what money is good for? It gives you comfort. Pay your bills, you go on vacation, you go out, have a good night to eat at a restaurant, have a pretty girl at home. All that stuff is good. Drive the car you want. When it starts to get too crazy in your head, forget it. Don't let the money rule you. Trust me. Next. Yes?
Have you ever killed someone?
It's funny that the young people are always okay to ask that question. When I speak with adults, they never want to ask that, very rarely. But whenever I go to college, there's some kind of fascination with that question. And look, I want to be honest with you, I don't make light of it, okay? And I want you to know that I'm credible here tonight. I'm never going to lie. I may not answer, but I won't lie. Like I said, that life is very violent. You're part of that life, you're part of the violence. And unfortunately, I've seen my share. But let me tell you one of the horrors of that life. okay? You get yourself in trouble. You have rules. You got to follow the rules, okay? There's no leeway when it comes to that. And some of them, the consequences can be very serious. One of the horrors of that life is you make a mistake, your best friend walks you into a room, you don't walk out again. And unfortunately, I've witnessed that in my life, especially at the level I reached. I was a competition captain. And unfortunately, I've seen that. But I will tell you this, okay? Understand this. I'm not making excuses. I'm taking responsibility for that life. But murder in that life was very, very serious. Okay? It wasn't something done randomly. We did it among ourselves because we all said, hey, we understand the rules. We make a mistake, we violate, we can pay with our lives. Okay, and it can only be approved by the boss. You can't just go around killing people. There's no drive-by shootings. There's none of that kind of stuff. Okay, that life lasted for over 100 years at a very high level because of the authority and the discipline and the structure that that life had. It's not the same now. Okay, it still exists, not going away in my lifetime, not the same. But you had to play by the rules, and if not, you could be in trouble. And unfortunately, I'll tell you something that's very, very heavy on my heart. I lost my best friend because he made a mistake, and he paid for it with his life. And it's something that happened almost 40 years ago, and I still haven't gotten over it. So, serious. Yes? Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. She asked, a very good question. My wife still is a very strong woman of faith, and as was her mother. Her mother was the most godly woman I ever met in my life. Her mother had a prayer book. You meet her for 1 minute, your name goes in her prayer. She had a prayer book like a telephone book, I'm not kidding. She would pray for you, she didn't need to know your name, she thought you needed prayer, you got it. And for some reason, okay, she took a real liking to me, and she prayed for me every day of my life until she passed away. She's passed on now. But she just accepted me, and she knew that I loved her daughter, and she just believed my life could turn around. She saw something, and so did my wife. And she was 20 years old. I kind of swept her off her feet, I'll be honest with you, I said to her one night, I said, hey, we were in Florida, and I said, hey, let's go to a nice Italian restaurant to eat today. She had never really eaten Italian. My wife's Mexican-American. But I'll tell you how, she never knew a mob guy. She saw The Godfather once. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, I never met a Mexican. I never even ate a burrito before I met my wife. That's how hard work it was. But I said to her, come on, we're going to go for some good Italian food. And I take her to the airport, and I had my private plane there. And she says, what are we doing? I said, we're going to New York. We're going to Little Italy. We're going to eat. She says, but I have rehearsal in the morning. I said, don't worry, I'll have you back in time. It's my show. Don't worry about it. And so, I swept her off her feet, no doubt about it. But I actually loved her. I still love her very much. And she fell in love, and she figured that, God would do his best and work on me, and he did. That was it. Yes?
How did your dad take it whenever you walked away?
My dad was very unhappy when I walked away. I just spoke to him just before I came here, 103 years old. He's in a VA rehab center in Queens, New York. He was, I'll be honest with you people, when they put a contract on my life, my dad went along with it. In a way, he betrayed me, but I understood why he had to do that, because everybody thought I was going to become a witness, and you're in that life, you just can't do that. And sometimes the person that brought you into that life could pay a price. So my dad would do what he had to do. Now we're as close as we ever were, God has patched that up. But he took it very hard initially. And now he understood why I did what I did, and so on and so forth, and he's accepted it, and everything's great, life goes on. Anybody else? Yes?
You mentioned that you would offer athletes a significant amount of money if they were in a third gangs for you. How often did people turn you down the first time you offered?
How often?
Yeah.
Never. Because let me tell you, we do our homework. We knew who we could approach and who we couldn't. And you can kind of tell when somebody's coming your way and they got to talk in a language and they start to, to kind of, get close to you. You get it. We were right on target when we did something. So we didn't get turned down. Yes?
What's the scary situation you have been in?
Scary situation I lived in? Oh, gosh. That's a lot. I guess, I don't know, it's hard to say. One that stands out is that I was in Brooklyn one night, and I was with two other guys, and I was going into a diner. And we got out of the car, and somebody started shooting at us. okay? And we all hit the ground pretty quick, and it shot up the side of the car and everything else, and didn't know where it came from. As it turns out, when we did our investigation, they mistaken me for somebody else. Now, you don't make those kind of mistakes and not pay for it, like that, but it was pretty scary. It was pretty scary. Another time, honestly, let me set this up for you. I told this young lady about being walked into a room and not walking out of it. Well, that happened to me one night, and I can only tell you this, that as I was walking into that room, it was about a 30-yard walk from the car to the room that I had to walk into. It was a basement apartment in a house in Brooklyn, and it was a money deal. And as I was walking into that room, I thought it was going to be the last thing I saw in my life. And my knees were weak. I was scared. Okay, my heart's thumping out of my chest. And I said, hey, I guess this is it. People had said to me, well, Mike, why didn't you cut and run? And I said, I don't know, we're just robotic. You know, you were so much a product of that life that I said, hey, this is it, this is it. When that door opened, I damn near fainted. But obviously I'm here. And I worked it all out when we got in the room, and it was okay. I actually started getting angry because they were making accusations that weren't true, but then everything was fine and walked out of there. But that was probably the most scary time because I was thinking about it as I was approaching what I thought would be my death. And it's tough, to be honest. Anybody else? Yes?
How do you walk around now without bodyguards?
I don't walk without bodyguards. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I believe God had a different plan and purpose for me. He's made it very evident for me throughout the years. Number two, I've just outlasted everybody. Everybody I know is either dead or in prison for the rest of their lives. And, I used my head. I mean, I knew what I had to do to protect myself. I spent 20 years in that life at a very high level. So when I moved out to California, I got out of New York, I had to. After I got out of prison, moved out to California, changed my whole lifestyle. What do I mean by that? When somebody's looking for you, trying to kill you, well, they look for a pattern that you do in your life. Does he walk his dog every morning at 7 o'clock? Does he go to the same restaurant every Tuesday night? Does he visit the same place? Does he go to clubs? I've been in a club in 20-some odd years. Bad place for me. I'm pretty well known. The wise guys walk in the club, they see me, make a call back to New York, maybe Miami or LA. They want to be a hero. I walk into the parking lot, boom, I'm gone. So I avoid places that I knew that could be a problem for me. And like I said, I just outlasted everybody. Nobody's really got it in for me anymore. Now I can't go back to Brooklyn and say, hey guys, I'm moving back into the neighborhood. I probably wouldn't last 48 hours. But I believe in God. He doesn't tell you to be stupid. You got to use your head, right? So I avoid situations that I know can get me in trouble. Anybody else? We got a minute. One more question and back to the room.
What was the punishment when you went in the car when your boss came back?
What was the?
What was the punishment to you when you went in the car when your boss came back?
Oh, what was the punishment? Okay. I was told the next day to meet on a place called Carmel Street. Was to meet there at 12 o'clock. Okay, I got there at 12. I got there actually at about 11:15, and I stood out on the corner. It was raining out, and I was told to meet right there. Okay, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, I didn't move. Finally, 4 o'clock, I'm soaking wet. Guys come over, they said, you get the message? I said, I got it. They said, go home. That was it. So, you don't do certain things like that. You learn the lesson right away. Yeah, I didn't get killed. I mean, I'm still here. You good? All right, Tiffany, thank you. Thank you all very much.